Hey guys, welcome back to Senegalese Twisted. Today I'm back again with another review on Maîtresse and I. We're going to talk about episode 6, and in episode 5 we ended with the scene where Mariam had the choice whether or not she was going to get back to Dakar and face the people that she has been hiding from, or whether she was gonna give her other lover Salif another chance. So let's get into episode 6 of Maîtresse and I. The first scene of Maîtresse and I episode 6 is Lala and Cher actually being really together in bed, and Lala starts off by saying that, you know what, Cher, it's your fault that my body is really aching. And I think she just meant the fact that they went out the other night to the movies, then they got ice cream and everything, and at one point Cher starts massaging her, and she admits that, you know what, this is actually what I really wanted. So Cher is teasing her and saying that, you know, you really like an easy life. And then he actually stops, and then she's like, no, please continue. So I thought that was really cute, and yeah, I'm curious as to what is going to happen next, because I'm sure this cannot stay like this for a longer time. So in the next scene, Marié actually finds Rocky in her office, and she is not happy, you guys. And she's looking around in the office, telling her that, you know, I see that you've installed here. I want you to know that it's not your place. You don't own anything of this. It all belongs to my children. And I want you to actually pack your stuff and leave. And of course Rocky is like, well, I can do that, but you know, if you want to speak to my mom, you know where to find her. And Marié does not let it go, and it's like she's like actually telling her that, you know what, you should actually be ashamed of even accepting this position, because it is not a position for you to occupy. And I think she also talks about how she and her mom are actually gold diggers, or, you know, not so nice words that she used for that. And of course Rocky is like, you know what, if you want my mom, you know where to find her. And if you were someone else, I would have called security on you and have you removed from my office. And then Marié tells her that, you know, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you know, your mother would have never even thought of saying that or doing that. And then of course Rocky ends up asking Marié, I thought she was really polite, and asks her to leave her office. Next scene is Tairu and Dalonda, and they're taking breakfast with the twins, and all of a sudden Tairu's phone goes off, and he picks up like, hey Jelly, no, breathe, calm down, I'll be there, I'm not doing anything. And of course you can see by the expression of his wife that she's not happy with it. And when he hangs up the phone, she's actually complaining that, you know what, I was not allowed to take any work calls, and now here you are taking work calls. And that of course he's, you know, defending himself, saying that, well, I have a cancer patient, and it was really urgent. And then she was also saying that, you know what, my cases are also urgent, because I'm talking to people that might leave, that might get life in prison and everything. So it's both a life sentence, like cancer, and an actual life sentence in prison. So yeah, so she was not happy with it. And in another scene you actually see that the doctor goes to Jalika's house to check up on her, but eventually you just get, you know, to know that it was a scare that she had. and he was actually telling her that, you know what, you should not focus on the past, you should focus on the future. You need to start living, you need to let it go. If something happens, it's okay. Don't be scared anymore, it's part of the past. So he was really sweet and everything, and really reassuring to Jalika. In the next scene, you see that Cher is actually visiting Amsa at the hair salon. And okay, so in the last episode, Amsa actually followed Cher, Lala, and Noura to the movies and the ice cream parlor, and she was not happy. And you could see that in this scene as well, because she was not rude, but she wasn't really entertaining him. So he came there and he was asking Amsa, you know, where's Mariam? I think something happened to her, maybe she's dead. And Amsa was like, well, then I hope that God will forgive her for her sins and get her to heaven. So he was like, how can you say that, you know? And then Amsa continued to tell Cher about the kind of man he is, and she was just telling him that, you know, you are the kind of man that goes out with other girls, telling them that your marriage is, you know, about to end, that you don't love your wife anymore, that you're on the verge of divorce, and this and that, but then eventually you'll actually have a baby shower after baby shower and a child after child with your wife, and in the meantime you will look for girls and go out with them, maybe even play with them, and that's it. So I think that Amsa was really hurt by seeing Lala and Cher being like on honeymoon phase 2.0, while he did not have any confirmation about whether Mariam was alive, whether she was doing well, or just anything. And I think that that really hurt Amsa. Okay, so now Biram was actually startling Mommy and asking for her help because he wants Jalika back, and he thinks that Mommy actually owes him because she reached out to him to get in contact with Jalika. But Mummy's not having it, and she was actually really appalled by the idea because she told Biram that, you know what, you really hurt Jalika and I'm not going to help you get her back. And Biram was hurt, but he was so entitled. Like, he was like, well, women, they're like this, and every time I do something good for people, people always pay me in negatives. Like, yeah, so she was like, well, maybe you should start doing bad stuff so that people will treat you right. And then he was like, well, that's a good idea. So, oh my god. Then you see the very dramatic scene where Marié is basically verbally attacking Rocky's mom, and she's telling her, yeah, and you like to benefit off of others, and you're a gold digger, and why do you want to take away the inheritance of my children? And Rocky's mom is like, why are you insulting me? And then they have this whole discussion about who has better offspring, because Marié is telling Rocky's mom that, you know what, everything is better than having a son-in-law that is a construction worker. So Rocky's mom is like, well, I'd rather have Mustafa, the construction worker, as my in-law rather than having a son that is an alcoholic, that is a thief, and that, you know, is the reason of the downfall of his own family company. And the crazy thing is, however, it is really typical for Senegal, is that the neighbors are stopping and they're literally listening in. And at one point the girl says, oh my god, let me just film this and put it on the internet so we can get a little bit of buzz, like clouds. And eventually this guy comes in and tells the two women that, you know what, you guys are, you know, the head of the families. You guys have you have to respect yourself. Like, don't be fighting on the street. At least take it inside and deal with it in peace. Rocky's mom is actually kind of teasing Rocky and asking her, are you still afraid of marié? You know, she's not gonna do anything. And you can see that Rocky's actually still afraid. And she asks her, like, what if she comes again and starts attacking us again? Like, what should we do? And she's like, no, don't worry about it, because she cannot do anything. I really taught her a lesson. And I also don't want you to worry about your position, because, you know, it is well done, and you really earned it, and it's a fruition of my job as your mother, or the labor that I did as your mother. And yeah, that was mostly it. And then it was crazy because Rocky's mom was actually telling Rocky that, you know what, you are a dignified pull, you are a hard worker. And then she asked, like, do you have a little bit of money, because I'm really low on money. And then she started talking about the car, about the driver, and she actually gave as advice to have a driver that's discreet, someone who would not ask any questions if anything happens. And I thought that was weird. However, I have to say that, like, this is the first time, or one of the first times, that her mom is actually telling her how proud she is, how she is a good representation of Pearl people. And, you know, but I think it only is because now she is the head of the company, and I think that is something crazy. And you have the twins, and their auntie is actually leaving and telling them, you know what, don't get in trouble, and if you do get in trouble, I'm gonna snitch you to your dad. And once she leaves, one of the twins is asking, well, not asking, but just telling that, you know what, this party I'm going to is going to be so lit. And the other one is like, well, did you ask mom and dad permission? And she was like, no, there's no need for that, because I'm just gonna give the present. And she tells it's the book of Mariama Ba. And the other twin is telling her that, you know what, mom and dad are definitely not gonna like this, and how are you going to fix this? So she's like, you know what, it's okay, don't say anything, just cover for me. And oh my god, these twins, I think they look like 12 or something, and I don't think one of them should be going out to a party without her parents knowing where she's at. Next you have Mustafa on the roof terrace, and it seems like he has a little date thing together, and his phone rings, and he's actually really quick to pick up, and he's like, oh, Rocky, but it ends up being Delia, and Delia is the woman from the music thing, and we don't know whether it's his producer or something else, manager, but it's her, and she's asking him to come to the studio because there's something really important. But he tells her that, you know what, I can't, I'm waiting for Rocky, and I actually have a huge surprise for her. But Delia is like, but are you sure she's gonna come? Otherwise it's a waste of your time if you keep on waiting for her without her coming. And he's like, no, it's gonna be amazing, and she's gonna be surprised, and she can come in any minute. So he hangs up, he goes through his phone, and he actually gets a voice message from Rocky saying that, you know what, babe, I'm not going to make it, I have so much work to do, so I'll be so late. So the first thing he does is he calls Delia, and he's like, you know what, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Then the aunt comes back, and she opens the door. She said she sees one twin, and she's like, which one are you, Adam or Eve? Okay, so the name Adama and Awa actually translates to Adam and Eve, but the name Adama can be used for women and men. And normally when people get twins, they usually call them Adama and Awa. And this can be for a boy and a girl, but also for two girls. And she's asking like, which one of the twins are you? And she's like, no, auntie, I'm Yolanda. And she's asking like, well, where's the other one? And she's like, she went to the store. And then she's like, do you think I'm crazy? Call your sister, tell her to come, otherwise I'm gonna snitch you to your dad. So in one scene, you actually see that Rocky starts seeing Mr. Sanya from the building. And in the next scene, you see that Mustafa is working hard on his music. And the next scene is Rocky coming back home and seeing the date that Mustafa actually prepared for her. And then she actually falls asleep on the couch, I believe. And then the next morning, her mom knocks so loudly on the door and asks her like, why did you sleep in the living room? Where's your husband? And also she starts telling her that, you know what, I'm so proud of you, my girl, the boss. But then she starts talking about marabu. And this is like a religious person in Senegal that can also use traditional healing, and there's a lot of superstition that goes with it. So she's actually asking Rocky to go with her to the marabu to get a like protection, but it's mostly superstition. And Rocky is actually telling her mom that, you know what, you are the best person to know that I don't believe in that stuff. The only thing I believe in is God. So her mom is like, everyone believes in God, but you know, the day shit is going to happen, you will want to be protected, and you'll know that this is what I was talking about. So I think that So actually gave up on her going to the marabu, but I think that she's just giving her a warning. Tairo's sister is called Mben, and Tairo is actually confronting her and asking her, you know, when are you leaving? And she's like, well, I haven't thought about it. Why? And he starts telling her that you don't like Dalanda, but please don't provoke her in her own house. And she was actually defensive and asking him, well, don't start with me because of her, you know, are you even normal? And he's actually making a point by saying that, well, there's no need for you to stay here if you cannot make any peace with her. And she's actually telling him that, you know what, if you kick me out of this house, I'm gonna scream and shout to everyone that you kicked me out. And this is something that Senegalese people are so afraid of, like people screaming bloody murder. And she was also saying that, you know what, if mom was still alive, none of this would have happened. And the only reason she says that is that because in Senegal, when a couple gets married, it's up to the girl to actually leave her house and live with the guy's mom. And then she is the one that's gonna take care of stuff in the house. Like she will be cooking, she'll be cleaning, she'll do the dishes, washing, laundry, everything. And of course this differs from house to house, but traditionally speaking, it's like the mom gains another daughter. And that's why Ben was actually telling him that if their mom was still alive, this would not happen. And at the end, Tairo is actually pleading with her, saying that, you know what, please do some effort. I want you to know that I love you, but I also love my wife. She's the mother of my children. And the only thing that Ben says is that, you know what, she needs to do some effort as well. So fingers crossed. Biram is visiting Jalika and he has this bag with him. I thought it was breakfast because I assumed it was morning, but it wasn't. And he's actually looking at her and telling her that, you know what, you are such a strong person, you're so amazing, you're this, you're that. And Jalika's like, you know what, please don't look at me with any pity, because I think that she had the feeling that he was pitying her and that he felt sorry for her, but she does not want to be felt sorry for, and she just wants to be treated like a normal woman because she's a normal woman. And he's like, the medicine you're taking makes you smelly, so I bought you some body lotion or something. And I was like, the audacity. And even Jalika was like, the audacity. And she stopped him right there. She was like, you know what, Biram, if you're doing this because you think you and I will get together, then you're wrong. I need you to get up and get out. And he left. And however, the last thing he said before he left was like, women, they never understand. And this is what I hate about Biram, because he can never do something, be rejected for it, and then let it go, because he always has to say something. Like even with mommy, when she did not want to help him, he was like, you know what, every time I do something good, people pay me back by rejection. And he could just not let it go. He could not be like, you know what, okay, you don't want to help me, that's fine, I'll figure it out on my own, and then leave. But no, he has to fight everyone. Like even with Jalika, like maybe his intentions were well, but in the end, if he says like, women, they never understand, it's like, no, you don't understand women, guy. Like, please respect us some more. Like, you have a mom, right? And I think that that also shows that Biram has not changed at all. Thank you guys for watching. That was Maîtresse and I season 2 episode 6. I cannot wait for episode 7. Also, I really want to see Homme and what she's going to choose. If you guys have any questions, any remarks, you can find the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check Senegalese Twisted for my latest blog posts. And I guess I will see you guys in episode 7.